The next order of business is to appoint an elector to fulfill the vacancy of J.D. McGee. Do I have a motion? Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor say aye.
The first document I signed says, that we signed says, "We, the undersigned, duly elected and qualified presidential electors for the state of Arkansas for the year 2020, hereby certify that we have appointed Mr. George Ritter to fill the elector position currently vacant in the absence of Mr. Ed Bethune, signed by each of the 4 electors." The second document, "We, the undersigned, duly elected and qualified presidential electors for the state of Arkansas for the year 2020, hereby certify that we have appointed Mr. Joseph Wood to fill the elector position currently vacant in the absence of Mr. J.D. McGee," signed by all 4 of the original electors. Thank you. We'll now have the roll call vote for President of the United States. When your name is called, please answer by stating the full name of the candidate. Donald J. Trump.
Iverson Jackson.
Donald J. Trump.
Sharon Brooks.
Donald J. Trump.
Rob Sobers.
Donald J. Trump.
George Ritter.
Donald J. Trump.
Joseph Wood.
Donald J. Trump.
All 6 electors have voted for Donald J. Trump.
Mr. Secretary, the vote is 6 Arkansas electors for Donald J. Trump. We will now have the roll call for Vice President of the United States. When your name is called, please answer by stating the full name. Michael R. Pence.
Iverson Jackson.
Michael R. Pence.
Sharon Brooks.
Michael R. Pence.
Rob Sobers.
Michael R. Pence.
George Ritter.
Michael R. Pence.
Joseph Wood.
Michael R. Pence.
Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman, all 6 electors voted for Vice President Michael R. Pence.
Arkansas has cast its 6 electoral votes for Vice President Michael R. Pence. Now, as electors, in the file folder in front of you, you need to go through and sign each of the certificate of vote that you have cast. You'll notice the first sheet is for Donald J. Trump, the second sheet is for Michael R. Pence, and they're paper clipped together, so there is a sufficient number of certificates in each file folder. While the other electors are signing, I want to say thank you to Justice Rhonda Wood for her service here today. And also want to say a particular thank you to Secretary of State John Thurston and his very able staff for putting this together and in a very professional and historic manner. I would have preferred a powdered wig and a quill, but it might take us a while re-inking that quill, and they're not easily found at Office Depot anymore. So we appreciate that. This is a very historic time, and you can document where you were on this day in 2020 with your kids and grandkids years from now. It's a very serious moment. And I want to thank each of you for being here. We're not quite completed yet, so don't leave. I think our new chairman of the Republican Party is here, John L. Fulmer. Let's give her a round of applause. Do I tally these ballots, or do y'all tally them for me? I went to Arkansas Public Schools. I'm not sure I can calculate this high. Okay. Yes, okay. Then do you pick these up or pick them up in a minute? Okay, thank you. We are signing now the certificate of vote for President of the United States, and it's a tally sheet in which each of the 6 electors sign. This is the tally sheet for the certificate of vote for Vice President of the United States. While they sign, for those of you who don't know, in Arkansas, each political party, the majority and the minority political party, select 6 electors, people of strong faith and support of their political party, and then the candidate that carries the state. Those 6 electors appear on this day to cast Arkansas's 6 electoral votes. Our 6 electors and the 2 alternates were selected at our state committee meeting back in July earlier this year, and it was a unanimous vote of the state committee gathered when it elected delegates that selected these very honorable people who are serving today. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to comment, I see J.D. McGee in the audience, and J.D. McGee was elected to serve, but originally he had sought an opinion which allowed him to serve, but since that time another opinion was received, which since he is a public servant working for Congressman Bruce Westerman, it raised the question whether he is qualified to serve under the Constitution. He certainly would have been honored to serve, and we would have been honored to have him serve, but in an abundance of caution, he stepped aside and let his alternate serve. Let's give J.D. a round of applause. Since I have y'all captured, I have to share a little historical information. The bench that we're sitting at and the room we're in was the original Supreme Court chamber for the state of Arkansas. At one time, pretty much all of government was contained in this building, and we seemed to let it get loose, and it got out of the building, and now it's scattered all over Little Rock and all over this state. But the interesting thing about this bench is you might notice that it is added on at either end of the bench, at this point on my end and at the point on the other end. And at one time we had 5 justices of the Arkansas Supreme Court when this was built, and we added 2 justices. So in a good conservative posture, they just didn't tear it out. They added on to it. They scabbed a further bench on it. And also you'll notice the seal on the front of the bench does not say the great state, the great seal of the state of Arkansas. I believe it has different language at that time as well. I spent a lot of time in here in the Senate because this is where Senate state agencies meets. And if you will recall, at one time, this was razorback red in here, razorback red carpet and razorback red drapes. And the state and the Secretary of State's office has done a great job of restoring this room to its original coloring, particularly as we look at the beaming up above and the emblems. The carpet was actually loomed on the looms that made the original carpet for this room. So I have to applaud those who led that way, that they sought perfection in historic preservation. So you're sitting in a room that's also a duplicate, if you'll think, to the governor's conference room, and even suggests that there's 2 mantles, like in the governor's conference room, has 2 fireplaces. At that time. That used to be, I believe, the library for the Secretary, for the Supreme Court, But the doors seem very similar to what's down in the governor's conference room. So since I had you captured, and the ushers will pass an offering plate to collect your offer, and if the congregation will sing "Just as I Am," we'll do great. So appreciate all of y'all being here today. It looks like we have completed our work. By my tally, Donald J. Trump received 6 electoral votes from the great state of Arkansas, and Michael R. Pence received 6 electoral votes from the great state of Arkansas. If we have a moment, I would like to pass the gauntlet down, and any of the electors that would wish to make some brief comments, you are welcome to do so. Just turn on your mic, okay?
Sharon Brooks, I am so very honored to be part of this process in history. It's definitely history for me and my family, and to be a part of this. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I'm just honored and elated to vote for our president, Donald J. Trump, and our vice president, Mike Pence. And I want to say, God bless America. Thank you.
Iverson Jackson, and keep in mind that Mr. Webb, Chairman Webb, wanted to pass the plate. I'm a pastor, so that made me a little bit excited also, when he's passing the plate. But, as we look on this day, it is a very historic day, and we are so thankful and honored to be here today in this setting. As I did, as most of you probably wondered, who is that Electoral College? Who are those people, and how do they get there? And, history has a way of catching up with us. So I think it says a lot for the great state of Arkansas that you see what you see on this platform. We are honored. I think we are leading the nation because we are a great state that honors God and His Word and all people. So again, I'm honored to be here, and thank God for Arkansas, for our president, and for our vice president.
I, Rod Sobers, a retired historian and archivist, am deeply honored to be part of this historic proceeding. And being a elected nerd, as a lot of people refer to me, as I study elections and the electoral and the governmental process, both nationwide as well as in the state of Arkansas. I was deeply honored when I was selected as an elector for the 1st Congressional District. And it'll be a memory that I will carry with me for the rest of my days. Thank you.
I am George Ritter, and I am, as the other electors, very deeply honored to be a part of this process and to be able to cast a vote for Michael Pence and Donald Trump. Thank you.
And I'm Joseph Wood, and again, JD, thank you very much. Don't know who came up with the opinion, but I'm glad that they, no. I've been the alternate a few times, and so this time I actually became the actual elector, so it is a privilege. I used to work, as Chairman Webb said, we do owe a lot of support and gratitude to Judge Wood. Thank you very much. I remember several years ago when you were just coming on, and we were in here getting you sworn in, and so, and to the Secretary of State, John Thurston, you and your team, fantastic. As Chairman Webb was kind of talking about the Supreme Court original here, and I started thinking about the etchings up there, and And if you look, you see the scales of justice, and you got the dolphins up there speaking of education and making sure we have swift and smart justice for all here in Arkansas. And so it's a lot to this room. And so, again, it's good for me to come back as a former Secretary of State member coming back in here. So, but this historical day will go down in history, obviously, for our country. And as Chairman Iverson talked about going to this Electoral College in January, Congress will take all these and solidify the votes for our country. I, too, am privileged to take part in this process. And I want to thank my wife, here she is, Ms. June, thank you. And for my family, again, we can't overlook the shoulders that we stand on. We were talking with the historian earlier today, and we were talking about Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, the beginning of the Republican Party, and where we have come. And so it is a tremendous day, and we all stand here because of what has gone on before us. So, again, thank you all. Merry Christmas to you all. God bless you all.
I have to close this with something maybe humorous. You never know when my communications person back there is saying, "Oh, Lord, what's he going to say now?" You know, I had the privilege of teaching American national government as an adjunct professor. And one of my favorite questions at this time of year would be, who is the mascot, or what is the mascot for the Electoral College? And you'd be amazed at, some people thought it was the giraffe, some people thought it was the hippopotamus, or the dog or the hogs, you know, but there's, of course, no mascot for the Electoral College. It's just a name. It's not a educational facility. So once again, thank you all for your comments. What a great group of individuals that we believe serves the state well. I, too, better recognize my wife, who will move to the Supreme Court on January 1, and we are honored. We are honored to have her, and maybe this will keep me out of contempt for a while. And we wish each of you a Merry Christmas as well. What do we need to do now?
All right, well, everything seems to be in order. I want to thank you all for being here and for participating. Is there any other business today? We have concluded our business today. I want to thank you all for fulfilling your duties. If there is no other business, the Electoral College of 2020 will stand adjourned.